Hello and welcome to the Dragon Way podcast, where we showcase the culture of MSUM Dragons football through the lens of those who lived it while they played and how they're living it today. Hi, I'm Wade. I'm your host, and I like B-dubs, #ad. For those of you who don't know what the Dragon Way is, simply it's 4 things Dragon football focuses on to create men of character. Do what's right, find a way, be a great teammate, and keep getting better. That's the Dragon Way. Here to talk about their experience playing for Dragon football and living the Dragon Way today is Dan Grande. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
Hey, Wade, thanks for having me on.
Anytime. All right. So kind of first thing I want to have you answer for me today is, let the people know where you're at, what you're doing. I know your life's changed a little bit since we shot the Dragon Way show back last fall. So why don't you give us a quick update?
Yeah, I'm still living in Cando, entering my 4th year being the science teacher in Cando, and I'm in my 2nd year as head football coach in Cando. I also help with junior high basketball, and then I do some strength and conditioning stuff in the summer and with the track team as well. My wife and I, she is on maternity leave. We have just over a month old baby boy, Kyler Mark, joined the world in July, and life's been revolving around him in school and football. Been pretty busy so far this fall, that's for sure.
No doubt. And just for all the listeners out there too, it's a really good thing that baby boy looks a lot like his mother, so he's a lot better looking than his dad, that's for sure. So
ain't that the truth?
All right, cool. All right, man. So just want to ask you a few questions here, and just another opportunity for you to kind of share your story, your thoughts, and things that help benefit the Dragon football program and how it's benefited you so far in your life. So first one here, what were you looking for in a football program when you started the recruiting process?
It was a really weird process for me. I played basketball too, and I was kind of going back and forth where and what I wanted to do with my life going into college. And so I looked at a couple different places, a couple in the NSIC, couple, I guess, in what is now the North Star Conference, NAIA, but none of them really seemed to, and I know it's cliche and everybody says it all the time, but none of them really fit. There was just the guys that I met with, the coaches that I met with, just gave off the vibe that it wasn't necessarily something that I would, or a place necessarily that I would like to spend 4 years at. Just kind of the belief system that I had and that I grew up with didn't necessarily align with those other places until I got to Moorhead. I knew a couple guys there, Adam Jisker being one of them. I always talk about how funny it was that Adam and I were enemies in high school, and then he was one of the reasons that I did go to MSUM. But the people there, the coaches, it was just a genuine fit. What they believed in, basically the Dragon Way that you talked about, was probably the first thing out of Coach Hunt's mouth when he came to Cando. And then the first thing out of Coach Lockway's mouth when I was visiting and touring around there. So those were some of the biggest things, especially, doing what's right and finding a way were 2 things that I held near and dear to my heart and still do to this day. So those were some of the big things that stood out to me when I got to MSUM was those coaches, and you could tell that they believed in and walked the walk of the stuff that they were talking about.
No doubt. All right. So how did Dragon football meet those expectations, and where did they exceed those expectations?
Well, basically from day one, I believe I probably told this story before. College football was kind of an eye opener for me. I chose to go there for those reasons that I stated before, but then, you got everybody on the staff essentially that's on the same page. My first day of college football, and you'll probably attest to this and remember this, was in the summer, and strength coach Travis Anderson was there, and we had my first conditioning practice, I guess, if you will, and we ran. We're running 55-yard sprints, and he goes, "I got a number in my head, and we're gonna run till we get there." And I kind of looked at, I think you were standing next to me and Adam was there. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, we're going to be here a minute. And I went, okay, and then just hearing him talk about those values, finishing +2, starting behind the line, different things like that, holding each other accountable to the standard that we were trying to meet at that point in time, was a big eye opener. And you could tell for sure. And there was kind of in that transitional period too, was you could tell the guys that believed it and walked it. And most of the guys there, just from the words, encouraging each other, challenging each other, you could tell that it was not just a slogan that people slapped on the wall or you put in a PowerPoint. It was like what we eat, sleep, and breathe, and work out and train. And that's really what set it apart. And that's what kind of exceeded my expectation was that first day. And yeah, I think we ended up running, close. I think it was 24, 25, 55-yard sprints that day. So that was real eye-opening real quick. And then, hearing him hold people accountable to, oh, that one don't count. We got to run another one. Somebody so-and-so didn't finish +2, or so-and-so started on the line. And that gets fixed real quick when you're running 55-yard sprints over again. But, just that standard and of what was held at that time was really what exceeded and stood out to me as I got into it. And as I moved through the program, that standard never changed. The bar was always set that high, and it stayed that high. And if you weren't going to meet the bar, or at least work to meet the bar, then you weren't going to be very comfortable in the program.
No, good chance you weren't going to make it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I remember too, a lot of those where we weren't even, a lot of people get tired. They want to bend over that end.
Right.
It was never nothing that we ever did.
Correct.
Coach Anderson. And we knew he
That's
was crazy enough to keep us there all night if he really wanted it to.
Correct. And that was definitely Anderson. One too, that like you said, or like we said, you figure it out real quick. Like, oh, like you're not joking. No, we ain't joking.
No doubt. All right. So kind of another question built off of that. What's different about Dragon football?
I think one is the people. I think a lot of times, and to some degree, different programs are going to recruit skill level, and recruit, okay, this kid is, the best at whatever position. And that was another thing that stood out to me when in the recruiting process was, they didn't necessarily talk about talent in the recruiting process. They talked about, you have the character, you have the work ethic, you have the this, that, the other thing, these intangibles we talked about, or we always talked about, of men of character. And that's why you get recruited to play at MSUM, and like all the guys there are pretty much like-minded and have those intangibles going through the program, and that was one thing that definitely stood out to me and was different from everything else. Was that talent was obviously important. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not important. Obviously, it's college football, and I mean, if you're crappy, you're obviously not going to get recruited. But those other intangibles outside that I feel like they put more emphasis on going through the recruiting process than many of the other schools did.
Yep. I agree. I think just going back and thinking about how we evaluate kids and how much stock the staff will put into really truly finding out, what you're made of. A kid who might be more talented to get passed on if the kid who may be lesser talent is someone who's going to come in and has his hard hat and lunch pail ready to go, and he's got that blue collar attitude, because that at the end of the day is the type of guy that's going to stick into the program and probably, and there's a good realistic chance that he's going to benefit, or the program's going to benefit off of what he does in between those lines, and even outside in the classroom, when he's on the verge of graduating. I think I agree with you 100% on that. Those are the kind of guys that make it and really, really show out in the program. Yeah. That's for sure.
I think for sure too that I mean, almost we're talking about the culture that's set there. I mean, if you don't necessarily believe that, you're going to feel very weird. I feel like in the program, and you can see some of those guys that are like, yeah, I come in, yeah, I talk it, I want it, and then you hit the weight room or you hit the field, and it's like, oh, right, this is I gotta finish every time, like just stuff like that. It's like, well, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just that attitude and that tenacity, that culture that gets set that stands out.
Right. All right. So what part of the Dragon football culture and the Dragon way connected with you the most?
That's a tough one. I see. I like. I mean, each one of them is different and stands out for its own reason. Um, I think just for me, from a personal standpoint, I think do what's right was the biggest one that stood out to me. Um, just because that was kind of something my dad and I kind of had always talked about. We do the right thing. We do the right thing. Growing up, I always heard that, do the right thing, do the right thing. He always said, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie for you. I mean, if you get in trouble, that's you. You did the wrong thing. You got to own it. And hearing that growing up, and then hearing that from the coaching staff there, that was one big one that stood out to me. Was like, yeah, I feel at home here. Like, you guys, like, I heard this for 18 years, and I'm going to hear it for another 5 more. And I believe it's the right thing to do. I mean, it's just do what's right, no matter feeling consequence or circumstance, right? So that was probably the biggest one that stood out to me, and then find a way was probably right behind it, right? Because sometimes you don't feel like going to class, sometimes you don't feel like waking up at the butt crack of dawn in the summertime to go get a lift in, but you find a way to get there, you find a way to get it done. And then I just remember all the times feeling so much better that you found a way to do whatever it happened to be. You go to class, whatever you learned something, lift, you got better at, you made it through practice, whatever it happens to be. You just feel so much better that you had that mindset going through it.
How have you applied what you learned while in the Dragon football program to your life today?
I still use all of them basically on a daily basis. I have them, I tweaked it a little bit to make it my own kind of way, but essentially it came from there. And I have it taped to my desk at work. And we actually had a kid that was looking into MSUM and going to school there, and he found the Dragon football Instagram page, and they posted the Dragon way on there, and he brings it to me at school and goes, "Mr. Grande, this sounds an awful lot like the Bearcat way." And I said, "You think so? Like, they must have took it from me. I don't know where that came from." And he goes, "Yeah, right." And I said, "Yeah, I got it from there, and I just switched the name in the front." So that's something that, I'm trying to teach my kids here as well. I believe in it so much that, we try to practice those same values here in Canada with our football team. And we're getting there to, if you ask any one of them what the Bearcat way is, they'll be able to tell you on their fingers and list it and give you an example of each and why we do it and why we believe it. So those things have stuck to me basically my whole life and or through college, and I'm still using them today with my kids on the football field and in the classroom as well.
Just got to tell your player that nothing in football gets stolen ever.
Yeah, right.
It's every coach's original idea.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you change? How did you change from before Dragon football to now because of that experience?
I guess I almost just have, kind of a different outlook on life and how to handle things. One of the biggest things that Dragon football taught me with the Dragon way is how powerful your mind can be. We talk about find a way. Really how powerful, we talk about, we had classes and discussed positive self-talk and different things like that, going through the program, and how much you talk to yourself and how you talk to yourself affects you. And that stands with me today. And that's the biggest, I think, thing that I learned through the whole process was how powerful my mind is. I can talk myself into a lot of things, good and bad. And just being aware of that is an unbelievably powerful tool, I think. So that's one of the biggest things that has changed in me is I've done things and forced myself to do things I didn't think I'd be able to do. Staying up late, watching film as a coach, now staying up late as a dad, and then waking up and going to school in the morning. Different things like that I mean, you just find a way to get it done, and talk yourself into it, and be better for it in the end.
No doubt. All right, Daniel. Well, man, hey, I appreciate you coming on, taking some time today. I think you embody exactly what the Dragon Way is. You've been a great mentor, not only for myself and our years of playing college ball together, but I know you impacted a lot of the young guys on the football team, and I know you're impacting a lot of guys right now in your program and in your school district. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck this fall. And hope to see you around.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right, plug this end here quick, and then that's it. So, all right, you can listen to the Dragon Way podcast on Apple, Spotify, and of course at MSUMDragons.com and the MSUM Dragons app. If you believe, like I do, that something great is happening at Dragon football, please subscribe and share the show. Until next time, do what's right, find a way, be a great teammate, and keep getting better. That's the Dragon Way. Thanks for listening, and go Dragons.